Good morning and welcome back to Margin. This morning we're going to talk about the proven tools to master the defense of wealth preservation. This is a 3-part series and this is part 3. So let's jump right into it. So next 3 types of insurance come down to protecting you and or your family in the event that you are no longer able to work. So with that, the first one comes down to short-term disability. Now, short-term disability sometimes is offered by an employer, so it's worth checking into. Otherwise, looking into a private policy that would cover your income, a portion of your income. It's a percentage of your income in the event that you are unable to work for a period of time. Now, this is outside of some kind of work-related injury that would fall under workers' comp, but would protect you in the event that you do not have paid time off or PTO that you can utilize during that disability period. The second aspect comes down to long-term disability. This also may be a policy that is covered by your employer. And so it's important for you to look at, okay, is this covered? And if not, what third party can I go to in order for me to make sure that I have this policy in place? But this protects you in the event that you have a disability that is for the long term that doesn't permit you to return to work. So this again will be a portion of a percentage of your former wages or your salary, and will protect you and your family from that wage loss from that disability. So the next policy to make sure that you have in place comes down to life insurance. Now, life insurance isn't for everyone, and depending on your season of life and the level of wealth you've achieved, you may not need this policy. But I would just recommend that you look into your current life insurance policy or getting a policy in place in the event that you do have others that are dependent upon you. You have dependents that you would be leaving behind if you died prematurely. So with that, you want to make sure that you have 8 to 10 times your annual salary in a term life insurance policy to cover final expenses, debts, as well as the ongoing cost of living, related costs for any of those dependents. So with that, you'll want to make sure that you have a policy in place that will survive as long as you are still in debt, you still have a mortgage, you still have kids living at home, and until you are self-insured. So what that means by being self-insured is that you actually have a certain amount in your savings, certain amount in stocks of some kind of retirement fund that you could live off the dividends. You have a certain amount of passive income that would make sure that you have the funds you need to cover your expenses, to cover your cost of living. And so with that, once you have accomplished that, once you have your home paid off, you have your kids off to college, once you have enough saved up to where you have passive income or you have dividend income that is covering your cost of living, then you may not need to have that insurance policy. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't make sense to hold on to that policy, especially if it gives peace of mind to your family, to you, for your family. So the next policy to consider would be an umbrella policy. Now, this policy is not a requirement, but is something recommended if you have assets above $750,000 or a net worth above $350,000. So with that, this covers you above and beyond your homeowner's insurance, above and beyond your auto insurance in the event that you have some kind of lawsuit, some kind of risk that comes your way that those policies otherwise wouldn't cover. So it's important to have this policy in place. It's relatively inexpensive to have, and it's important to have it in place in the event that that there may be risk that's outside of your purview, outside of your consideration at this point. But as you gain in wealth, as you gain in resources, you want to just protect those resources. You want to protect and defend what you've accomplished, what you've grown your portfolio to at this point. So the last policy I would recommend is for those who are considered over the hill. So with that, you'll want to look into a long-term care policy that basically covers your care needs above and beyond that would be covered by your health insurance. So with that, it's important to look into this policy if you are around or above the age of 60, and this policy will protect above and beyond some of those costs incurred for additional care you may need. So with that, this is not an all-encompassing list, but it's important for you to look at how to defend against any kind of attack, defend against losing ground. And these policies, these approaches, this approach to having a plan to spend, having reserves, having the proper policies in place to protect you and your family, defend against attacks. So with that, my call to action today is to look at which aspects you have in place, which aspects in your finances, in your sphere you have in place to protect you and defend you and your family in the event of some kind of attack. So with that, review these policies, review the policies you have in place, and look at whether you are underinsured in certain areas or whether you are overinsured in other areas, and figure out, okay, what's the right mix that ensures that I'm protected, but also make sure I'm not spending frivolously in policies that I may not need that could be adding to the margin that I want to have in my life. If this information is helpful to you, please do like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're reminded to come back on a daily basis. Thank you for your time. Enjoy your day. We'll see you back here tomorrow.